Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm just kidding. Last night was really hitting though, wasn't it? Like, did y'all feel it?
No,
Y'all
oh
felt
yeah,
it?
yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
I definitely felt it. Last night, Blake preached out of Exodus chapter 33, verses 1 through 17. And the thing that really stuck with me, like one of the first things that really hit in was if we rush the process, we won't be able to fight the battle when we face it. I was like, that was good. Because I feel like right now, personally, I'm in a season of growth, and like I feel like I've been here a minute. Like I'm like waiting. I'm like, okay, God, you know,
Like, what's up?
what's the next? You know, like
Yeah.
where we going, right? And it's like I have to trust God, because like this season of growth, I can feel it. It's a big one, but I know that if I just get to where I want to be so quickly, like I'm not gonna be ready for, you know, greater blessings, right? Like they come with so much more. They come with greater battles, and you can't rush the process to be prepared for that. So yeah.
I got something for that. I feel like that's something that we do a bunch is like try to rush the process. You know what I mean? Like we want like our blessing to come ASAP. Like, but we gotta chill because like we want to go from A to Z, but we got to go through B, C, D, all the other letters in between. You know what I mean? And like Blake said last night, there's a miracle. Like, what if there's a miracle in the detour? And I was like, oh, because I've had many detours, and now looking back on it, like the detours have been where my miracles came from, even if I wasn't expecting it. Because like I feel like at times we think detours are from the devil, but God brings us detours that are needed in our life. Because half the time, whenever we think we're ready for a blessing, we're not even ready for the next step. You know what I mean? So I think just being patient and trusting God in the process is something that is mandatory for us just to not even grow as Christians, but like grow as people, grow as leaders, like grow our faith in God. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like to piggyback off that, I feel like patience is like one of the toughest things to like process like in the time, like because like we don't want to wait for stuff, like we want stuff like to happen like straight then, like we see something or we want to achieve something, we want to get it now, and it's like God is like no, like you're not even ready for like the next step, like you're not even ready for the next thing yet, so why would I give you something that you're not even ready for? And it's like that's kind of like where I am in my life now. It's just like I'm in like a season of like patience and like trusting, and it's kind of hard because like all these things that I like want to do and like all these things that's like I'm like thinking of, and God's just like, man, you're not ready for that yet. Like you're just at the beginning, and I just like I feel like we get so caught up in like trying to move forward, and trying to like get to what we want instead of what we actually need. Like we need to go through that next step, and we need to like see the next part because the next part could like lead us up to something bigger instead of getting what's bigger instead of getting what's smaller and smaller and smaller like this leading up to the bigger thing.
For real though. I think so. Like going off of that, like being patient and everything like that. One thing that comes to mind to me is my whole transfer portal process. Like when I first entered, I was like just contacting all the coaches, trying to hurry up and get that offer, get that next place to go and stuff like that. And like just me doing that just put so much stress on me, and just like it just wasn't it, like And then so just I just decided to just sit back, let God do His thing, and just like let Him work. And then once I did that, is when like schools actually started like reaching out to me and stuff like that. And then I feel like if I were to go to one of those schools that I like DM'd and stuff like that, try to get there, I wouldn't be where I'm at right now. Like I feel like if I went to like say if I went to like a big school like Alabama or something, like I feel like I would not be focused, like too many distractions and stuff like that, and like, I feel like I'm not ready for all that. And like just being here, just being like being able to come to Mosaic, meet all y'all and stuff like that, and be able to just grow in my faith. And then like maybe if I do end up going somewhere else after, like maybe I'll be ready for that then, and just so.
Just kind of going back to like the patience aspect, it's crazy because I think our generation struggles with that so much because of like things like instant gratification, right? We got with like the microwave generation. I think I've heard it say.
What's that?
Yeah.
What's the microwave?
Oh, like everything is like instant, you know?
Oh.
Like, you know, we don't have to wait a long time. You 30 seconds, oh, the food's hot, you know?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know
And it's crazy because God knows what he's doing, right? We don't have the same foresight that he does. And so he knows like, oh no, you can't get that in a 40-second. The food's not gonna be ready. You gotta let him cook.
Yeah.
You feel me? You feel me? So like you know, we just need to wait, you know?
Yeah.
Like it's just, and I think it's really hard because like it's natural for us. We have things like, you know, Instagram and you know, other forms of social media that it's like, oh, I can get a quick laugh, you know? Like, you just got to scroll, right? But God is like, no, like, with me, you can't just scroll through. You don't just move through what I have for you, right? It's a step-by-step, day-by-day process, and I'm going to take you through it. And in that, you have to learn to trust me and trust the process that, like, what I have for you is way greater than anything that you could even imagine. So, yeah.
for sure. And I think patience is big, but to have patience, you gotta have trust too. And I think like patience without trust is you feel like you're just waiting there. Like you're like, man, what like you start to question. And you're like, am I even in the right spot? Is God even moving in my life? And last night, trust is following God without question. Like that's something that stuck to me. And I think I struggle with that personally for sure because it's like, yes, I do trust God, but even while I'm trusting Him, I still tend to question. And I think that's something that we all struggle with. But I think once we just stop questioning God and start like living in what He's called us to and being like where our feet are, that's whenever we'll see like mountains moved and like things moving in our life while having patience too, because trust and patience go hand in hand. Like, and, you know, it takes time for things to shake and things to move. But I just feel like we're in a generation right now where trust issues are big. Calling myself out, but trust issues are big, and then like patience is another big thing, like you've been saying. But we have neither of them from like either past traumas or like things we've gone through. And I think now more than ever we need to have patience and trust in God with our life, and knowing that like no matter what happens, He's gonna make something shake, and like He's gonna move us in the right direction that we need to be in.
Yeah, like going off that, something that came to mind was like following, because following is something that we do not want to do. Like we don't want to follow nobody else. We like to be in control of our own situation, and like we want to be in control of the things that's around us, and we don't want to follow. And like that made me think of the saying, like, you know how people be like, be a leader and not a follower. But like I was thinking on that, and it was like, in order to be a leader, you have to learn how to follow. Like you have to learn how to follow to in order to become like put in the front. Like and that made me think like you have to learn how to follow God to learn to learn His ways, and like and being able to learn like off that. Like you have to like know how to follow, and you have to like know how to like be in the back, which is kind of like it's kind of like hard. It's hard to like think like, man, I'm in the back. I want to be in the front, but like you have to learn while being in the back in order to get to the front. So that was something that kind of hit me like deep, because it's like, man, I don't want to follow nobody. Like I want to do it on my own. Like I want to do this myself. But in order to like in order to see what God has for us, like we have to follow Him. Like we have to learn how to follow His steps, and we have to learn how to like when He moves, we move, like just like that. And it's like once we like move when He moves, like we're like we like we'll see how much like progress and like how much we've like improved and how much we've grown, just because we didn't move off our own like being. Like we just like we didn't move off, man, I'm finna do it, and like not follow God. But it's like, okay, God, I'm gonna follow you and see what you have for me. Like it's like when you follow Him, and you go behind His footsteps, now you're onto like a whole different thing, bro. Like the growth, and you wouldn't even realize it until you get there, and it's like, bro, like this is you. Like the growth that you would see was like, it's like mind blowing.
So going off of that, kind of brings to mind this devotion I read last night after we left Taco Bell and stuff. It's about this dude named George
Did you
Frederick.
have to add the Taco Bell part though? Yeah, you have to put our business.
Bro, it's just Taco Bell. Like we got to get some grub.
This man Blake had us out last night.
I didn't say how late. You feel me? See, now y'all, you feel me?
Oh yeah, you might as well give him the whole spiel now.
Give him the spill, bro.
I mean, we
We
just
didn't leave Taco Bell till 2 o'clock in the morning. Didn't get home till 2 o'clock in the morning.
Had practice at 6.
yeah practice
Yeah,
at 6.
Had work at 6:30, but you know,
Hey, gotta grow in the faith. You feel me?
that's what I'm saying. Hey.
Got to. But yeah, it was about this dude named George Frederick Handel. So he was like a child prodigy, like early teenager. Like he was like one of the greatest composers. Like at one point, he was literally the highest paid composer in the world. And then like in his 20s, like all his performances sold out and all this, just like that, like built different. And then so after a while, people started wanting to like search for the new thing, like the new artist, the new like how we get, yeah. So then after that, like he went bankrupt, like he really like hit the bottom, and then like even like he had some like paralysis or something like that, like lost control of some of his fingers or something like that, and like being in the orchestra, like you need them. So then after that, he read some like manuscript that somebody wrote, and then he started like getting into the word and stuff. And then so after that, he started back composing again. He wrote this thing called The Messiah or something like that, something. And like since he was like bringing God into it, like people said his music was more like heartfelt and like all this other stuff. And then so after he started like composing again and like having performances and stuff, he rose to a higher level than he was before. So like that really just like God really gonna bring you down just to bring you right back up. Yeah.
Bro, I feel like that's how life goes. Like whenever we bring God into the picture, that's whenever we see our life start to like brighten up and like start to shine. And it's crazy because at times I feel like we're selfish people, you know what I mean? And we're like, oh, this is us. Like it's us. It's not like it's all God. So like that's cool that you said that God's gonna bring you down before He brings you up, because I feel like there's a bunch of people either listening to this right now or like just in the world in general in a very low spot in their life where they're like, man, like I got one more chance. Like I'm about to give up. Like this is it. And like I think people need to hear that God makes you go low before He brings you high. So I think that was like a super good word that you just shared right there, bro.
Talking about how like with God bringing us in a lower place in our life sometimes, I don't know about y'all, but for me, even when I thought I was at like an all-time high, like for myself, and then I hit that low point, the new high is like it's so drastic, right? And it makes you really realize like things that I thought I was doing like on my own, like they're nothing compared to like what God does when His hand is on my life. And just like in the part of the Bible that we talked about in the service, Moses told God, he was like, well, if you're not going, I don't want to go. Like if you're not there, like the thing that differentiates us from other people in the world that maybe don't know God yet or they're choosing not to follow God is that God's hand is on us, and that looks different, right? And when His hand is on us, His hand is also in all that we're doing. And so God's not going to go with us if we don't yield to His voice, right? And so like we have to be obedient. We have to like look to Him and like move with Him, and it just looks so much different, I think. And it's just like it looks different and it feels different, right? And it's that difference that like it's like, yeah, okay, I need God. Like I can't do what I'm doing now without Him, and this is not by my doing but His doing. Yeah, that just really stuck out.
I feel like during that time, like the most important part that we that we kind of like miss is like keeping Him in the midst of like when we're at that all time low, because I feel like we get so when we at our all time low, like the devil try to throw all these like distractions and and like um like temptations and like fear and doubt and stress. He tries to throw all this stuff at us to get us like to take our mind off God. But I feel like the most important thing is like while we're like in that low time is to still keep God included. Like, even though I'm like, even though I feel distant, or even though I'm going through like a season of like aloneness, or like I feel alone, I just feel like there's nobody there. I always keep God like in the midst and like in the mix, because it's like, because I know for me in my life, if like when I've been at a low, and like I can tell the times when I don't include God, and how my life is going and how I'm feeling, versus how um keeping God in the mix, or how I'm like being constant in prayer, and like the gaps that are like not filled, he fills those gaps for me. So it's like keeping him in like the mix is like keeping his presence with you, and like keeping his presence with you even like when you're going through like a low, you will notice a difference of how like versus like when he's with you and like when he's not, because you wouldn't even feel like, dang, I'm at a low for real, because like you've kept God included, and he's like filling those gaps that's like that you think are like missing, versus you know, not being like consistent in prayer, and just like going through like with your own like understanding and emotions, and think like, man, I'm just going through a rough time, like I don't know what to do, and just like going off of it like by yourself, and like you would notice how like you just feel like so distant, and you just feel so alone. So I just feel like the most important thing is like just keep God in the mix like during that time.
So picking off the feeling loneliness part, like coming here, new school, didn't know anybody, like didn't even really like know the coaches really. Like I talked to one person before I came, and like so I was like just starting over. Like it really hit different. Like I was really down bad. Like how lonely I felt. Like and having no roommates or nothing like that. And like I just kept praying like God, like I just want to meet some people, not just anybody though. Like people that also want to pursue you, and so I can like also grow in faith. And then just like, I just kept praying that prayer, just kept praying it, cause like at one point I felt like it was just going nowhere. And then like come around like this semester, I mean, met Dav in the spring, um, but we weren't really like close like that. And then him like inviting to come to church, come to Mosaic, and then meeting Blake and everybody. It's like everything's starting to unfold, and like it just if you really just stick with him through like anything, like you're never really alone. Like he's there with you through thick and thin, no matter what. And like that just really just shows like his love for you. It's like he's just different.
Because that kind of got me going. Like they got me thinking. It's like it's like, bro, when God has a calling on you, bro, like when God is like has this for your life, there is nothing that you can do like bro, you're not getting away from it. So it's like if God wants to bring you somewhere, and he's gonna it like just like Blake said like he said last night, my bad. But but like he said last night, like either he's gonna make you go forcefully, or you can either go willingly. So like that just made me think like the calling that he has for us, like we can either take that and like willingly take it, or he can like force us to do it. But either way, God's gonna have his way. Like you're what he has made for you, you're gonna like get it like either way. And that just made me think of like in my life of how I didn't want to willingly give up football, because that's something that I didn't want to do. So, but God was like, I have another purpose for you. So you're either gonna give it up to me, or I'm gonna like forcefully take it from you. And it took me, you know, years on top of years of going through pain and just relying on other things instead of relying on him. Okay, so then he was like, you know what, you left me no choice, and he forcefully took that away from me. So it just made me think like like when he has this made for us, like there's nothing you can do to like stop it from like proceeding. Like there's nothing you can do to like stop God from making you the person that you were designed to be. And that just kind of like hit me deep, because it's like the person who I thought I was designed to be for the longest wasn't me, and I didn't want to willingly give up who I thought I was, until God forcefully took that away from me, and now I have to like learn like, okay, like you're not that person, so like who are you now? So like you have to like trust in what I have for you, and what I have for you, you're gonna be that person no matter what. So that kind of hit home for me a little bit.
Bro, and I think that's so crazy because like we got to understand that God chose us before everything. Like he already had a plan for us. Like he planned this before we even knew each other, or like he chose our parents for a reason to have us. Like he had a calling on us before we were even out, you know what I mean? Like before we was even born. So I think like you said, he's either willingly gonna make you follow him or like forcefully make you follow him. Cause like if he's out for you, bro, he's out for you. Like he's gonna find you no matter what. And I like what you were saying whenever you said keeping God in the mix, and like especially whenever we're at low points. Cause like I was thinking about it, and I feel like there's really never a low point when you're with God. You know what I mean? Like I don't think he looks at it as like, oh yep, I'm about to make him. I'm about to take this relationship that he got right here and put him in a low point. Like that's not a low for him. Like that's something that needed to happen or like supposed to happen. And I think like during those times when we're at our lowest, we have opportunities to like go do things that we shouldn't do, like go party or go like drink or go act a fool, wilding out. Um, but I think we should like that's whenever we need to question if we're filling ourselves with good things or with God things. And like that's hard for us to do. You know what I mean? Like that's hard for us to don't do that. That was Blake, bro. That was Blake. That wasn't me. That was Blake. But nah, like I think that's something that we definitely need to question. Like, are we filling ourselves with good things, or is this something that God would like really approve of and appreciate? Because I think when we start moving like that, that's whenever we're gonna start moving different. You know what I mean? And like people are gonna be like, oh, God's on him. Like God's on her. Like he's filled with God things, not good things. And I think that's something that we need to really get to and start thinking about whenever we're in our lows, but not even in the lows, like whenever we're at the highest of the highs too. Because like whenever we're at highs, we're like, man, we're good. Like I'm gonna kick my feet up and like we're gonna chill. I'm not even gonna, yeah. And then that's whenever, oh devil, he gonna be like, oh, I see you like this, bro. What's up? And then he gonna send you something and you gonna fold. So like I think it's just something that we definitely got to keep in mind if we're filling ourselves with good things or with God things.
I think a really important like difference to make between good and God is that yes, God is good, but the things that are just good in the world are temperamental, right? They're temporary. Like we can't rely on them to be there for forever. But with God, like God is greater than good. You know what I mean? And like he's there all the time. He's gonna stay there. And I think when we fill ourselves with what we think is good, we also have to recognize that it's not just God that wants to speak to us, that wants to be the voices in our head, and not like in a crazy way. I'm not crazy, but
Like you crazy, like you said that.
no, not crazy, but but just that like there's a lot of things that are gonna try and speak to us, and they may pose as like good things, right? And when we're not filled with God, we're not able to discern the difference between a temporary good and what God has for me. That is
Eternal good.
eternal good.
Eternal
Yes, yes. And so I think that it's just like you said, like filling ourselves up with what God has for us. That's part of that. It's not only feeding our spirit, but it's helping us to create them or build the mind within us to like discern like what should I really welcome into my life. And it's crazy because God's voice sometimes is the hardest to hear. Like when you have a lot going on in your head, it's like all these things screaming at you, right? But God doesn't have to scream because it's God. Like he knows like, yeah, what I have to say, like that's logic. That's the truth. I don't have to try and talk over everybody else. I don't have to, get my voice heard. Like it's me. Like, what am I yelling for? Like, right? And so a big point that really stood out is that like the voice that's often the quietest and the stillest is God's voice. Like for me personally, I've struggled with feelings of anxiety for a good part of like just this stage in my life. And it's always things that are really loud that are like trying to get me off my track. And it's like, you just like I've learned just over time to like sit in those moments and just talk to God and just pray and say like, God, like, these aren't of you, right? And it's like I can only do so much in convincing myself that like this isn't the truth, but it's God that's like, no, just it's okay. Like I got you. Like I'm here with you, in you. Like none of these things, like they don't define you. Like it's just us. Like we're good. And it's like, yeah, And it's because like I'm really intentional about filling myself with things that are of God and like of His Word, and even music, like good music that promotes like what God is all about. But yeah.
I have something else. Actually. My bad. I swear I'm not hogging this mic.
No,
I
speak
think
it,
he on
shoot,
me
you
right
got
now,
it.
bro. No, but I like what you're saying, and I think it's big that we do continue to fill ourselves with good things or with God things and not good things, and also I feel like we need to understand that God wants us to be where we want to be more than we want to be there. You know what I mean? And I think at times we're always like, man, I don't even know, like, is this even possible for us to get to this place? Or like, is my goals that I want to achieve even possible? But it's like God literally wants you there more than we want to be there. And then another thing, whenever you were saying like God is the voice that's hardest to hear, I feel like sometimes it's not the hardest to hear. We just don't want to hear it. Like on the real, where it's like, oh, go pray for them, or like, you need to cut that out. Like, don't do that. And we're like, bro, but if it's, it feels so good. Like that's what it is. It's like it bounces back to good things and God things. You know what I mean? Like we need to stop focusing on what's good and like listen to His voice and walk with Him and let Him lead us into the place that we need to be. You feel me?
Yeah, for sure.
And like, bro, it's like it's so crazy because like I feel like we all go through conviction. Like we all know when we're doing something we know is wrong and something's like no, don't do it, or like don't go back to this person, or don't go and do this. Like don't go out and party. You shouldn't go here. Like we all have that conviction, but it's like we get so caught up in just like, man, I want to do it so bad because it feels good, but like once we go into it, we find out that it's temporary and it doesn't leave us. It doesn't bring us no good, but it keeps us in the same place that we are because we think it's like like it feels good. I want to go do it. I'm finna go do it. Then we go do it and find ourselves like in the same place that we were, and like going back on like what you were saying, I feel like something that we like struggle with the most is how we manage our time and like what are we putting like in our time, because it's like it's so many like distractions in the world, like it's so much stuff that's going on that can like keep us like distracted, bro. Like is we got social media, we got television, we got phones, like we got all this other stuff that's going on in the world, and we like to fill that with our time instead of filling that time with like God's presence, like reading His Word, or praying, or worshiping, or just like going out and just like walking like with the presence of God, and like just like taking a hike or something, like and just like talking to God like during that time, because I feel like I catch myself doing that a bunch because like I would have I would have free time, and like the first thing I'll do is like go watch YouTube, or I'll like get on Instagram or something and get to scrolling on Instagram, and I don't realize how many hours I've spent scrolling and scrolling and scrolling and watching this video, watching that video, and when I could have been spending that time like talking to God, I could have been spending that time learning more about Him. I could have been spending that time like worshiping Him and praising Him and like being in His presence. And it's like it's just so crazy how it happens so fast, like how we can just get caught up so fast and like in the world and what the world offers instead of what God offers, because I feel like what God offers is nothing compared to what the world offers. Like what God offers us is eternal, like eternal love, and like eternal joy and eternal.
It's okay. Take your time.
Hey, bro, I'm in a. I'm
It's the
going.
spirit.
Yeah,
Spirit
this
moving.
sounds like eternal peace, bro. Like we like all that is like eternal and something we can have forever. But the stuff that goes on in the world, like Instagram and all this other stuff, is temporary. Like we're not gonna bring this when
Jesus come back.
when Jesus come back. Like we're not bringing none of this, bro. Like we're
Yeah.
not bringing the car we drive. We're not bringing like none of that stuff, bro. So I think like we just get caught up in like all these distractions in the world, we don't feel our time, like time management is like poor. Like we have like poor time management, and like I feel like something that we should all take note of is like, what are we filling our time with? Like, what are we doing in the free time that we have? Not saying like it's okay to not like go on social media from time to time, but definitely don't let that take God's time. Like, don't let that become more important to God. Like, don't let like the Instagram and social media and like all these other things be more important to God. Like, oh my bad, bro. I'm looking at you and you like,
No, I'm agreeing with you. I'm like, hey, this man is on one right now.
yeah, but it's just making sure that like we keep God in our time. Like we at least spend like parts like through the day like with God, either with us like worshiping or reading the Bible or like praying. But like it just goes back to like just keeping God in the mix, like just giving him the time that he deserves, because he owes us nothing. Like
Right.
Literally nothing.
he owes us nothing, but we owe him like everything. Like we are not we don't need nothing. Like we don't need nothing that he's given us for free. For free, bro. We don't deserve any of this, but he's willingly giving it to us. So I feel like we have to spend our time wisely and like give back to him.
What you
It's
do
valid.
for us, bro?
Bro, I'm telling you, bro, because I was like, man, like I was thinking at work, like, what am I gonna talk about? And literally, I had nothing in my head, but something was like, you get the mic, you'll be all right. Like
That's God.
you'll
God
like,
did.
I'll like, something was like, just calm down. Like when the time comes, you'll know what to say. Like, but hey,
God did. Peace. God did.
nah, for real.
I'm saying like when you were going back to what you was talking about, Ken. One thing that came to mind was like I had a moment today in practice. I ain't gonna lie, I was out of it today. Like staying up that late and then having to go practice in the morning. Like it was not it. You feel me? But like in the middle of practice, so we got like music playing and stuff during practice. Just yeah. So in the middle of practice, they literally come on, bro.
I'm sorry. They
No, but in the middle of practice, a worship song came on, like, and I ain't never heard them play no worship music at practice. Like, we supposed to be like trying to kill each other out there. You feel me? Like it's a physical sport, not literally, but we want us to be aggressive, and like, yeah. But so it was the song "Chain Breaker." Like on those speakers, you can't really hear every word that come through like the speakers and stuff like that. And also you got the coaches yelling, the whistles, people talking, all that. So like I heard it, you feel me? Like I was like, okay, yeah, but I couldn't really like, bro, couldn't really like get into it. But like one part of the song that I don't know why, but like I heard it so clear. Is when someone's like when it said like if you have chains, he's a chain breaker. So like going off what you saying, like we all have them things that we're just stuck to or like tied to, and like that's keeping us from being like being more than what we are. Going closer to God. I feel like if we take those to him, like he'll break that chain. Like he will get rid of those distractions so you can really like lock in.
Right.
And,
Right.
I want to go back to that time management because I feel like I'm the absolute worst with that. Like I'll be in bed doing nothing, and I'm like, man, scroll, 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 and I look and I'm like, oh snap! Like I've been scrolling for an hour and a half, and then I go read the Bible, and I'm like, I read a page and I look at my phone or like my watch. I'm like, dang, bro, that was only 2 minutes. Like what? You know what I mean? Like I feel like as people we're like our time, like you said, our time management is so bad, and like things feel so fast, but then like at times things feel so slow also. And I'm also wondering like times with God is supposed to feel slow. You know what I mean? Like they're not supposed to be like super sped up times. Like you're supposed to actually cherish the moment that you get to read His word or like to spread His word onto other people. And like like Blake said last night, if we want God to speak into our life, like we got to make room for him. And like as people, we're so bad at that. I feel like we're like, man, why aren't you moving in our life, God? And he like, well, bro, because you're giving me this much space. Like, what am I supposed to do? How am I supposed to? Like you giving me 5 minutes out of your day, and you're giving your phone 7 hours. And I'm like, bro, will you chill? Like, stop. But nah, like we gotta definitely be better managing our time and giving him our time, because like you said, like he owes us nothing. And I think we take that for granted, where we're like, man, God, you, like, come on, bro, like give me. And I don't mean to be calling God bro, but like that's my bro. You know what I mean? Like I look at God like we like this, like that's my dog. Yeah, exactly. No. I'm about to. I know you want this mic after this, bro. You on one. I'm gonna have to do what you did before this next time, bro. Nah, but yeah, just like giving God our time, and like giving him more of our time than we think we have. And I think that's whenever we'll see like God actually start moving in our life. And like whenever we give him room and give him space to move in our life, he's gonna move in our life. And I think that's something that as people we need to start understanding more, and like, I don't know, just sacrificing something. Like this life comes with like following the Lord comes with so many sacrifices. And I think that's why people don't want to follow him as heavy as they should, because they're like, if I go to church, then I can't do this on the weekend. Or like, I go to Mosaic on campus, I can't do this. Like, I gotta stop seeing this person because we doing so and so and doing this and that. You know what I mean? Sorry, don't look at me like that. But like, somebody gotta say it, and I'm gonna say it. You know what I mean? So it's like, we definitely just gotta start making sacrifices and giving God our time. And I think that's whenever we'll see God move in our life in ways that we ain't never seen him move before.
For sure. Did you want to go? Or you?
No, I'm gonna let you go.
Okay. Speaking of like time management and making room, it's so crazy you say that, because there's this song. It's literally called "Make Room" by Jonathan McReynolds, and like part of the chorus is like, or towards the end, he's saying like he's listing different things in his life, and he's like, you can move that over. He said my family, my friends, you can move it over. Like my attitude, anything like, and it's not so much like, okay, God, like, oh, you can fit right here, right? No, it's okay, God, what do I need to move out the way for you to have enough room, right? And asking God to give you that guidance, because it's like, we can move something and not view it as, it can be significant to us at first, right? But in the whole reality and the whole scheme of things, that's really not enough space for God to operate. I mean, and God can operate in any capacity, but it's like there's a lot more around us that's blocking that opportunity for us to really connect with God and be with Him in that moment. Earlier, you had talked about conviction, and it really hit, because I'm reading Romans, and I think it was in chapter 6, and it was talking about like the sinful nature within us. And when God's hand is on us, like, our spirit is happy. Like our spirit and our body, it's not the same thing. And our spirit wants to do good, right? But the sinful nature within us, of course, doesn't want to do good. It wants to do bad things. But when we feed that sinful nature, all we're doing is producing dead fruit. And that's, goes back to just like what we're filling ourselves with, right? And I think that's where the conviction comes in. It's because it's like we're fulfilling these temporary things, and it's like we're producing what looks like good fruit at first, but it's like, no, this is rotten. Like, this isn't good. Like, I can't do anything with this. And that's where the conviction I believe comes in. It's because like after we fulfilled this desire, it's like, oh, okay, yeah, it's cool. And then, everything starts to set back in, and it's like conviction is like, but is it cool? Is it really good? But then on the other hand, if we fill ourselves with what God really wants for us, we produce a good fruit, right? And that's His word says that all throughout. I don't know the verses quite yet, but it's yet we getting there. But like, you know what I mean? It's really all about like you fulfill the spirit that's in you, that's with God. Like you're gonna produce good things, right? And yeah, that really stuck out to me when you said that. I was like, oh, I gotta spit some knowledge on that one. Just read about that the other day. So yeah. Anybody?
Yeah, it's like because we love the temporary stuff so much. Like we love the temporary feeling. We love the stuff that's so temporary, and we just like so used to it, and we like that's what we tend to like go to, the stuff that's temporary, and we don't want to go to the stuff that's eternal because we feel like I don't want to do that. Like when you said sacrifice, like we all have something that we don't want to give up. Like the amount of time I spend on my phone, I don't want to give that up. The amount of time I be at home playing a game, I don't want to give that up. Like, cause it's like I want to be able to like enjoy it, and we feel like we can't like enjoy when we like spend time with like God or something. But like little do we know, like God could have been trying to speak to us through His Word that day. That the time that we said that we okay, I'm gonna go play the game instead of like reading. Maybe God was trying to tell you something that day, and now you just missed it. So like, and it's like, it just makes me think of like, cause like I know for me, like, I used like the temporary stuff. Like I used to the stuff that was temporary, like quick. I used, like it was like a go to, like it was just so quick for me just to get into. But then when the conviction hits, it's like you settle back into reality. Like what you did, was it worth it? Was it worth not going to pray? Was it worth not going to read the Bible? Was it worth not going to talk to God during that time? And it's like it's crazy how that makes you feel. It makes you feel so guilty. It makes you feel just so like I'm not worthy of I'm not worthy of none of this. But it's just like we all go through it. But it's just like we have to learn. Okay, God, I messed up. I need to I need to give more of my time to you. I need to be in you more. I need to learn about you more, and just stuff like that. So, just feel like we just get so caught up in like the temporary moments and like the temporary things instead of, you know, really focus on like the stuff that's like eternal. And yeah.
There was okay, so there's something you said, and you was like, when you fulfill those temporary wants or those and it feels so good, right? And we get so excited. I think we go back to it because we want to stay in that specific moment, right? And it's like it seems to last so long, but I mean, it really doesn't in the whole scheme of things. And it's like we cherish that moment that it does last because we know it's short. But why don't we cherish the moments with God and the time with God when we can get so much more from it, right? You know what I mean? Like, I think that's something to really think about because you were talking about like time management, right? You scrolling on your phone, it seems to go by so fast. But when you reading with God, it goes by. I mean, it doesn't go by like that. The opposite, whatever that is.
Like reverse snap.
Yeah, reverse snap. It feels like it takes so much longer, and it's like, man, I've been here for forever, right? But it's like you enjoyed this little split moment of excitement, and you want it to last longer, but you have something that will last longer, that's eternal, that's like it may not be exciting like on the surface level, but like when you really get into the word and you start to see it in your life, because the word, Blake said it, the word is a cheat code. Like it has nothing, just because it happened however many million years ago doesn't mean that it's not still happening today, right? And so I think that's just something that, all of us can think about just going in our day-to-day life is like, why don't I just try to spend more time in this and like enjoy this and savor this with God, you know? Yeah.
No, that temporary stuff is so real. Like anything that I know, I was in a phase where I was like anything where I can get like a temporary just like high or like anything like like serotonin wise where I was like a temporary happiness, I would be like boom, quick to do it, playing the game, like scrolling on my phone, like hanging out with people that I didn't need to hang out with, you know what I mean? Like just to get that temporary happiness and feeling. But it's so crazy because like why are we so quick to do a like get a temporary happiness instead of an eternal happiness? You know what I mean? And like the relationship with God will bring that eternal happiness. Not even happiness, but like just eternal love and like just a genuine relationship with Him. And I think at times we think that the temporary happiness will be better than that eternal happiness and love, or like temporary love will be better than that because like I said, it takes sacrifices and like having discipline. And discipline is so big when it comes to the relationship with God. And I think that's why some people are so far away from God because they don't want to live a disciplined life where it's like, okay, I can read my Bible, I'm going to church, like I'm spreading the word, I'm in your word, because it's hard. It's hard out here, like to, especially as a college student, like we're surrounded by so much wickedness out here, temptation, and then we do that, and then we feel conviction, and like I don't know about y'all, but like for the temporary happiness stuff, like I'll do that, and instantly I'm like, man, really, like this ain't the happiness I used to feel. Like this ain't the same, but that's because I'm growing in my faith. And I think God does that because he's like, bro, look, you can still do this. You're going to have that temporary happiness, but as soon as that 5 seconds of temporary happiness is over, conviction. Where you're like, oh, really? Like I just did that for real? For this 5 seconds of happiness right now? Like, come on now. And I think that's God just trying to speak to us like, bro, cut all that temporary stuff out and come mess with the real one. You know what I mean? Like come get this eternal love over here. You feel me?
My bad, bro. Go ahead.
Yeah, I feel like you ain't been talking that much.
Yeah, bro.
Bro, my fault. I just be, you feel me, soaking in. You feel me? Yeah.
I see you with the 2 watches.
Oh my goodness,
can't hide
bro. I ain't gonna lie.
You can't hide it, guys.
I ain't gonna lie. I was.
Check the pearls on the neck. Like, check the pearls. Let me. Yeah. Check the pearls. Yeah. Hit the shadur.
The little double, the little double. You feel me? Nah, but that's crazy that you said that though, cause the 2 watches thing, like literally before I went to weights, I was like, before I go in, there, let me take off this Apple Watch before they start. You feel me? Saying something, but I forgot. You feel me? Okay, but no, my fault. But the going off the chasing the temporary satisfaction, like that is we it's kind of like a drug, like people always try to chase that next high, and like the more you do it, the less satisfied you get, and then the more you do it, like you're gonna keep going back to it quicker and quicker, and like eventually, like that's not going you feel me? I ain't want to say it, but we're not gonna be here no more. You feel me? But it's just like we keep chasing that. Oh, my mind just went blank. My fault. Oh, but like, if we bring them temptations to God and like actually talk to Him about it and listen and not just say it and just go on about it. Like actually sit and take time to listen to what you got to say about it, and like even go to somebody else that close with that's trying to grow in their faith because they can really might be able to help you out with the same thing, and like just yeah.
And like I feel like that's something that we kind of like don't think about that like as our walk with like Christ, that like we can't do it alone. Like we need to like bring somebody along on that journey, cuz like following Christ alone is like you can't do it. Like you can't try to do all this stuff alone by yourself, because like you go through so much, and yeah, you can talk to God about it too, but it's also like you have to have somebody that's like they can hold you accountable during those times of like, hey bro, like someone that like prays for you and like keeps you accountable, and like you know something, another person that you could like go and talk to. So like I feel like relationships and who you hang around, oh my gosh, who you hang around with.
I feel like that really just hit you so deep.
Boy, like like the people you hang around will judge who you are. Like they really say you are who you hang around. Like if you're trying to pursue Christ and you're hanging around people who love to get drunk and high all the time, like what benefit are you getting out of that? Like you're not getting anything from that. And it's like if you hang around like people who are like driving to like pursue Christ and like know Christ and like following his footsteps as much as you do, then like you gain so much, and y'all like doing this stuff together, and y'all like spreading the word together, and y'all like moving. But it's like when you're hanging with the opposite, you don't move. Like you go backwards instead of going forwards. And it's like when like, 'cause I went through a moment in my life where like I was like doing when I was back in Atlanta, and like I was fighting with, you know, trying to live for God and still trying to live for the world at the same time. And I was like battling those, but I realized during that time, like God was like knocking at the door, like just let me in, like just let me in. And that, like in that time, I wouldn't let Him in because like I was so much that I was going through, and I was like I went it was so much like going on like in my head, so many like thoughts and like all this stuff that was going on, and it was like the whole time God was like knocking and begging me to let Him in, and it's like it took for me to like get here to like it took for me to leave, and like when I finally let Him in, all the things that He was trying to tell me, and like, bro, you were never meant for this. Like I had so much more for you. And like if you just let me in, I feel like God is knocking at a lot of people's doors like right now, like just let me in. But like we don't want to let Him in because that goes back to the sacrifices. We don't want to give up something. We don't want to give up what we're doing. We don't want to give up that temporary pleasure. Like we don't want to give up that stuff that lasts 5 seconds, of that 5 seconds of happiness. We don't want to give that up for something that's eternal. So that hit me deep for real. Cause like the people who you surround yourself with is gonna like determine who you are. It's gonna determine what you want to be. And like not saying that you can't like change those people, but it's gonna be hard. Like trying to change them, but also like being so influenced by the stuff that they're doing. Also, like you're trying to get away from smoking, but still you hang around people who smoke. So it brings you back into the temptation of smoking. Now once you do it, you fall back into, man, I know I should never did it. So it's like, yeah, conviction. So like who you surround yourself with is so important. Like it was so important for me, but like who you surround yourself with is like so important.
Okay. When you were saying like with God knocking at the door, right? It's another song, y'all. Like, he be really speaking to me through me or to me through the music. But another song is called "Tomorrow" by the Winans Brothers. It slaps. Y'all need to go listen to that. Yeah, I'm putting y'all on. But one of the big one of the big things or whatever that the song talks about is like Jesus is knocking at the door, right? Jesus is like, look, I'm here for you. I have what you need. Like, I'm here to supply you. And in the song, like he says, like, okay, I hear you, God, but tomorrow, I'll do it tomorrow, you know? And it's like, wasn't it in the Bible? Okay, I might be wrong, but when Jesus came back, right, he went and knocked on their door, and it was like they opened the door, and it was like that ain't Jesus. They closed the door, and like he's like, it's me, y'all. Like I'm at the door, and like they're like in disbelief, right? So 2 points I kind of went around, but if we're gonna like if we want God to be in our lives, like and we want to say yes to what He has for us, we have to respond when He calls us. We have to respond when He's at the door and He's like, "Yeah, you ready? Like let's go." Like we have to be there to answer. And to put God off and say, "Oh, maybe tomorrow," or tomorrow has never been promised, right? It's never promised. And yeah, we're young, you know. It's like, oh, you have your life ahead of you, but that's not what God says. God is here, right now. So like, why postpone what He has for us? Why postpone the journey with Him if it's only going to get us closer to where we're trying to be? You know?
You out here preaching for real. You preaching for real. It's giving preacher, like for real. Was that right? Did I use that in the right way?
Yeah, you did. You did
Okay.
good. You did
Yeah.
good.
Man, well, today was great. Today was great. I'm so glad that you joined us today, TK. I mean, it was amazing. But what?
Nah, something. Go ahead, bro. Like, go ahead, bro.
I would, but they saying we gotta wrap it up, bro. But you know what? Come on, bro. You say one more thing. Speak. You feel me?
Something that came to mind, that came to my mind, like when you were like talking about that, it was like God will get us at our lows. Like God will get us like when we're at the point of breaking. That's the point when He's like knocking at our door. But we have to like let Him in, like, cause the time that He was knocking at my door, I was at the lowest point of life that I've ever been. Like I was going through so much. Like my mental state was like not in the right place, and I was just going through so much. And like that's when God is like let me in, like He like loud is so clear, like that's when the conviction, that's like when you know what like you know what you're doing is wrong, and it's like God is knocking, like just let me in, let me in. So it's like He grabs us like when we're at our all time like low. Because I know sometimes we feel like we're going through the most, God is like not there, or God doesn't like want to help us, or like, but it's like He wants to help us as much as we don't think He wants to help us. So it's like we have to like let Him in. Like even when we're at our lowest, that's when He's the closest to us. And like we could be so high, and we can be living life and not have God, and it's a different feeling. So like we can be at our all time low and allow God to like move in our life, and we can see how like it wasn't even that serious for real. Like it wasn't even that bad, but like we included God, so it's like that's all we needed. I don't know, that just came to mind, bro. But
That's good. I want to say one more thing. I think like with that, that's so good because we can't consume God's word and not be changed by it. And that's something that Blake was preaching last night. We can't consume what he's his word and then continue to live this life that we're living. You know what I mean? Like we gotta at some point something gotta give. Like it's either we keep living, yeah, or forcefully, literally. Like willingly it's gonna happen, or forcefully it's gonna happen. Something gotta give. But now that's just something I wanted to say. But man, this has been great for real. This has been so great. We thank y'all for tuning in with us. This has been episode 3 of the Green Room.